Okay, perfect.
Okay, great. Yeah, so my name is Maryna Kryvomaz, and this is how my surname is pronounced. And yeah, I work in EPAM in Croatia. So in general, in EPAM, I work for around 4 years right now, and in Croatia, a little bit less than 1.5 years since I moved here. I'm managing the unit of business analysts and the product managers. And today I would like to talk a little bit, yeah, about how we can enhance our productivity as business analysts using the modern AI technologies. I hope very much that all of you here are not yet sick, with this topic, because for me, this is like everywhere right now. And sometimes I guess that, all the talks I hear around myself are about the ChatGPT and AI. So I would like to start, with asking the question why we should care even about that. Being the business analysts working in IT, working in our companies with our customers, why do we need to pay attention? And what I would like to start with is that actually the pace with which we as a as a society, as a humanity, start to adopt new technologies is changes, and it speeds up a lot. For example, here we can see that the vacuum cleaners, when they were first invented, it took around 30 years for vacuum cleaners to start to be used in 50% of the households. So it took almost, half a lifetime of a person to actually, to be seen in each of the each second family. And we need to understand that the technologies, when they arise and when they start to get adopted, they impact all spheres of human lives. They change the jobs. They change the requirements for the positions. They might change, disrupt the whole markets, and actually, like, including job market as well. So this is about the vacuum cleaners. But if we're talking about the internet, for the internet to penetrate 50% of the households, it took around 10 years only. So 3 times less than compared to the vacuum cleaners. And the tablets were adopted by the 15% of the families in also a little bit less even than 10 years. Now, if we're talking about the ChatGPT, which was released in November last year, in April of this year, 2023, it has already started to be used by Yokosuka city government in Japan for administrative tasks. It has been 5 months since ChatGPT has been released. So compared to even like how internet was adopted, how it penetrated, it took like 20 times less. And of course, like we are much more technological. We've became much more technological since then. But the speed, how it's getting adopted, is frightening a bit, I would say. And also in terms of how it actually impacts the markets, we can see that on the example of Chegg company. So Chegg is American education technology company, and Chegg is known for proposing the mentoring solutions, education solutions. Um, and it has been disrupted by the release of ChatGPT. So people that have subscribed and that have bought the services of Chegg, they have started to use ChatGPT for self-education and for started to use the ChatGPT as kind of a mentor. And that's why they stopped paying for Chegg services. Uh, of course, that impacted the revenues of Chegg. And after the call with investors, where the results of the company were announced on the 2nd of May, you can see how much the price of the stocks of Chegg has dropped. So it was almost 2 times in just one day. And as of now, in about a month since this drop in the stock exchange, as a part of a package to address the impact of ChatGPT on the company, Czech has already started to do the layoffs of people who work for the company. Now it's just not that many people, around 80, but still it's just a start, you know. Um, and at the moment, we do not know what would be the impact of the AI on the job market and how exactly it will impact us as business analysts. So the question is how much whole IT market, how much it will be transformed with the new technologies that keep popping up, and also how will the role of the business analyst or the product manager be transformed also as a part of this whole process. Um, let's let's talk a little bit about the basics, about what is the shift in the technology, and I will also set the basis for some terms that I will use today across this presentation. So let's talk about the artificial intelligence in general, what it is, and why we're talking about it right now so much. So usually artificial intelligence, it refers to some kind of a programs that can perform the tasks that usually would require um, human intelligence. So human to do that and to, you know, to perform some intelligent work. That would be tasks like understanding human language, recognizing some patterns, solving some problems, and that usually also not some kind of a typical problems which would require very simple algorithms, but also um, some kind of a problem solving process, right? Where you need to understand the problem and to define the ways how it can be solved. So till now, like now we have the terms of narrow AI and generative AI. And if we're talking about the narrow AI, usually this is very limited in its usage. So it might be limited to certain, you know, type of tasks. And this is also trained on the very limited set of data using certain very specific examples of the of the outcomes that can be resulted out of certain triggers. And usually till now, it requires some additional training to be able to use the narrow AI because usually it required either codes or specific syntax to be able to even interact with that model. Generative AI performs much wider set of actions and can be used in a wider set of, you know, situations. This is trained on the large set of unstructured data, and it uses the approachable interfaces. So I guess by now many of people who have joined or maybe all of people who joined this presentation have used ChatGPT, and you know how easy it is to interact. So you just type queries in the language which you use on a daily basis, and then it answers in also very understandable human language which was selected for interaction. Um, Large language models, or LLM, is the specific type of artificial intelligence that is used to recognize and text and generate text as an answer. The large language models are trained on a large amount of data, and it would be text data. And the technology is utilizes prediction of the next word in a sentence based on the data on which the model was trained on. This is a very important part here because I would, you know, make a step forward and tell that, of course, LLM is used as a technology for applications like ChatGPT. And it is important to understand what's behind this because, for example, here you can see that the model is trained on the data and it selects the next word based on the data that the model has been trained on. So of course, there is the data is enormous, and basically we can hear the sentences like ChatGPT was trained on the whole internet data. But anyway, it's prone to mistakes and it's prone to patterns that had been that has been like encountered in the data on which the model has been trained on. That's why, in general, AI is still, and the large language models are still very prone to mistakes. And in future, in general, like we as a humanity, will have to answer a lot of ethical questions in related to the areas where we can use the LLM tools, because it's still prone to mistakes, it's still prone to bias, etc., etc. And that would very much be dependent on the data which was used for training of the model. Then we can, like we hear a lot ChatGPT, but in general, GPT is generative pre-trained transformer. So this is an language model which is based on LLM AI technologies. This is basically the approach. And ChatGPT is an application. So I just added it here to make sure that we can, distinguish these two terms. So while GPT is a technology, ChatGPT is an application that has the GPT um, as a core. And the ChatGPT is created as a chatbot, and this is optimized for the dialogue. Okay, let's move further. And I will talk a lot today about the prompt engineering, because basically, I will start with this slide. The prompt is an input text. So what you do when you're interacting with ChatGPT is you're writing the prompts. And this would be each sentence that you type, each prompt that you make is a starting point for the ChatGPT to start generation of the responses. So the prompts you are making are the context, are the inputs, and are the data that would be used further to generate the answers that that you are trying to, trying to find, and to generate the information that you would like to have. So here are the few examples of prompts. It can be very simple, like list the main tasks of business analyst in IT. Here is this screenshot that I've made with a simple prompt, in which cases business analyst can use state machine diagram. And the ChatGPT has generated quite a large answer, even using this simple prompt. However, there is, I would say that, with lots of people that work on, maximizing the efficiency of usage of ChatGPT in general, there is a whole science already on how to use prompts and how the prompts will be written. And I would like to say and to mention that based on the quality of the prompt that the person who interacts with ChatGPT has written, the answer and the quality of the answer will differ a lot as well. So the answer to this simple prompt that I've made here, and the answer to more sophisticated prompt might be different. Okay, so how to create those effective prompts? There are certain, like there is already a certain science about that. So the first element is that the language that you are using to create prompts should be clear, should be concise, and should not contain ambiguity. So for example, the prompt something like, can you please name beautiful, I don't know, um, beautiful expressions of people would be very ambiguous, because the whole concept of beautiful is ambiguous by itself. So you need to be more precise when you're doing the prompt like that, and you need to indicate what exact criteria, what exact features of the expressions you are looking for, um, you would like to ChatGPT to use. because of course there would be some response, but there is a high chance that the concept of beautiful would be different. That would be, used for as an underlying concept here to find expressions would be different from from what you imagine as a beautiful, right? The second element of the good prompt or effective prompt would be the persona. So sometimes you would like to add additional context for ChatGPT and to add persona which ChatGPT should kind of impersonate. So here in the screenshot that I made, I've indicated that the ChatGPT should act as a professional product owner because for certain questions, the answers that can be provided in general or from the standpoint of the specific professional might be different. And perhaps if you're using it in your professional life, you would like to add this additional criteria for ChatGPT to generate a better answers for yourself. Then the input data. You can provide information, you can provide some examples that should be used in the context of the answer, of the response of ChatGPT, or also ChatGPT, it saves the context and it can use the context from your conversation if you are building up on your prompts and on the responses that ChatGPT provides. So the context will still be there. And also, you need to specify the tasks. Um, if I will have the use case a little bit later, very specific ones where I would be able to illustrate that. But for example, if you would like to here, if you would like to have certain tips for organization of certain events and you would like those tips to be presented in a certain way, you need to specify that in the prompt because otherwise the information might be represented in a different way that you expect it to be. For example, here I've put the additional like specifications that the results should be presented in a table. And the table should contain the name and the description of the tips that I'm asking for, and also the refinement. So in case on the first try, the answer that was generated by ChatGPT is not specific enough, is not good enough, and you understand that by tweaking and by refining your prompt, you can improve the result, uh, you should be doing that. Actually, for now, I would say that I know people who generate libraries of the prompts that they use on a daily basis. Very, um, kind of simple examples. Some people they, for example, use ChatGPT to improve the wording of their emails. Um, I'm not sure if anyone here is a native English speaker. I'm not, and of course my emails they tend to be not as fancy written as compared to people who are native speakers. So I can use ChatGPT to refine my email and to up, update the wording in a way it sounds better and perhaps more professional. And in this case, you also need to provide some context. So please rephrase my email. The email should be written in a professional way, not using any kind of, for example, um, casual words and so on. And in this case, you can build up on your own, library of prompts that you can use in a daily basis. For example, if you use ChatGPT all the time for updating the wording, you can save it for yourself. If you use ChatGPT for um, to cross-check the requirements, for example, completeness, then you can also write the prompt and reuse it afterwards. And also by using it all the time, you can see how you can think of how it can be refined, how it can be improved, and so on. So there are three, I guess there is more, but I've included three principles of prompt engineering. The first of them is incremental approach. Um, ChatGPT has its limits in terms of how much data it can generate as a response. So in order to better build up the results and to better build up the responses you are getting, you might want to decompose the initial tasks into into smaller tasks. Like we are business analysts here, we know what is decomposition, right? Um, in this case, you can start with asking questions, then building up on the answers that ChatGPT provides. And slowly, step by step, you will be approaching to the actual solution that you would like to have. Instead of asking all of these in one prompt and perhaps waiting too long for the answer, getting very vague answer, and so on. Also, as we discussed just now, refine and enhance. You can iterate on the prompts, you can change the prompts, you can send additional prompts to actually um, build upon the previous answers and ask ChatGPT like send prompts like rephrase your own response, optimize the output in certain way, but you need to add context and so on. And also precision is key. The more detailed your prompt is, the more data you provide for ChatGPT to build the response on, the more precise your answer will be as well. Um, as we discussed, providing vague details, providing ambiguity will also cause additional ambiguity in the responses of the model. And now we can get to the specific use cases that can be used by the business analysts. Let's start with requirements development. Here, this is, I guess, I'm sorry. The first one is very, okay, this was vague, but still just to illustrate how actually nice the answers might be. I provided a little information a little context that ChatGPT should act as a business analyst, works on the project to build a website for a touristic agency. I've provided some additional details, like it sells certain type of tours to certain country, and then I asked in a prompt to describe the functionality of viewing the list of the tours available on the website in the format of the user story. And also specified that each user story should have the acceptance criteria in Gherkin format. So as a result, I got the user story and also got the acceptance criteria. Of course, if you use the ChatGPT to generate the user stories, so to generate the requirements, so to decompose the scope into the requirements, it is it is a good practice to review the output, because still, as we discussed before, the model is prone to mistakes. So of course, it's not a human. It cannot validate its own responses, and it also cannot apply any type of the human logic in a way we understand it. So there would be an answer, but it needs to be reviewed. And the second use case that I've provided here as well in the form of a screenshot is that um, like you're a business analyst, let's imagine, and you start to work on a new project. In this case, we have the requirement of improve the search functionality. Let's imagine that you have never worked with any kind of a search engines, and in general, you might not have any kind of experience like that before. You might not know what should be the requirements for the search functionality and what can be considered as improvement of this functionality. So you can use ChatGPT actually as kind of a knowledge base to start off. So here the prompt is asking for assistance in clarifying the requirements, and actually ChatGPT starts with the information that might help to start off working and analyzing this type of project. So it provides the questions that can be asked to the stakeholders in order to understand what kind of an improvement stakeholders are looking for. Okay, let's move forward. The next one is a complex one. So this is related to creation of the BPMN diagram. And in order to actually get the output that might be used, easily to create the BPMN diagram, you need to provide quite a lot of context. So here the prompt is broken into 4 parts. The first one is the instruction. So the instruction tells that the process tasks, roles, and events should be described. And part of the instructions is prompting ChatGPT to ask additional questions if additional data is required. And also that the process description should include alternative scenarios, or the process flow when it is interrupted or canceled. And also the instruction tells that the tasks within the process should also be included when handling the interrupted or cancellation flow. Also, as part of the context, prompt includes that okay, ChatGPT should act as a systematic world-class process engineer and use the standard, the BPMN standard to describe the tasks. The input includes the process description that needs to be visualized with the diagram, right? And here the output is described. So output is requested to be in the table format that includes certain information, and there is a whole specification for the output. So how task name should be represented, and so on and so forth. And here is the answer of ChatGPT, is the response on the prompt like that. So there is a list of the process task, which includes all the data that was listed in the output description. And also there is a list of events, and there is a described relationship between process tasks. So having all of this information, it would be easier to actually create the diagram by yourself instead of analyzing the process, okay, not manually, but again, by yourself. But again, in order to have the result like that, which is precise enough, you also need to spend some time to create the prompt, which would be specific enough to get that result. So what I would like to say here is that sometimes you need to evaluate what would be more time consuming for you, to create, for example, the diagram here yourself, or to create the prompt and to iterate and experiment with that prompt in order to get the result that can be further used. And the very important part of the whole discussion around the ChatGPT is some, limitations and considerations related to its usage. So the first part is the limitations related to knowledge and learning. The first, and I guess one of the most important concerns, is that ChatGPT has the static knowledge base. The information there is limited till September 2021, and for now it still uses that same database, so it's not being updated with the new data that has appeared since then. So for example, if you are trying to do the domain research and you understand that within that domain there were changes during last 2 years, or you're trying to analyze the competition, or for example, the market right now in 2023, then in this case, ChatGPT can still be used, but you need to understand that information might not be up to date, and there might have been changes in the actual outcomes, in the actual results that are being produced. So it might not be up to date, it might be wrong, basically, as of now, the information that can be produced. But if you're using ChatGPT to, get the information and to get the responses about something that has not incurred lots of changes during last 2 years, then there is no limitation in this case for usage of ChatGPT. For example, if I will be researching, on kind of school program on physics, then most probably I will not have any kind of problems there. However, if I'm trying to do the research about the any kind of experiments in fundamental physics that have taken place in last year, then I will just not have that data. The second part is that ChatGPT does not have the main expertise in terms of, in our human understanding. So there is still information there, and the basically the logic would follow the information and the data that the model has been trained on. However, again, the ChatGPT or any other model can be limited in terms of, analysis that it might do on the basis of that information. So there is no expertise, there is no human thinking process. So it can be used as a source of data. However, in certain cases, it would need human review and, tweaking of the information. Limited language proficiency. ChatGPT is still provides the best results in English, and it might not be able to operate in all the languages that exist in the world. However, even it would the quality of the results and outputs that ChatGPT can provide would be very dependent on the number of information that in certain language that the model was trained on. So, for example, if 99% of information was in English and only 1% in Croatian, then of course the quality of the outputs in Croatian will be much would be not as good as in English. And the last part is forgetting of conversation details. So ChatGPT has its own limitations in terms of how much data it can operate with within one dialogue. So if you interact within one dialogue too much, then it might start to lose the context of the conversation that you had from the very beginning. And it should be taken into account because in general, when trying to iterate on the prompts or build up on the task, you would depend on the information that you have input before and on the responses that have been generated. But in certain cases, you need to pay additional attention because the context might get lost. And important part, which is related to privacy, security, and regulatory requirements. The first in general part is that when we input the information, it might be used for training of the model. And when the model is trained on the information, it might mean that this information can be used in the outputs that would be generated for different people. That's why there is there are strong limitations, for example, in our company, in EPAM, of inputting any kind of sensitive data to ChatGPT and any kind of customer data. So we are not doing that because there is a risk that that information will be used as a source of data for the training. However, in case this is a general queries which then do not require sharing any kind of a sensitive or confidential data, then this is totally okay. So from that part, the data security concerns arise. And also the existing data regulations. So the model was fine-tuned in a way that in general, it aligns with with some kind of a general human ethics. You might have heard of the stories when ChatGPT produced the answers that were disturbing in a way or offensive. However, after each such a case, the model is being fine-tuned. However, for now, we cannot guarantee that there is a compliance, 100% compliance with existing data regulations, like, for example, GDPR or other ones. And also, if we are talking about regulations, in general, as of now, there is no regulation in terms of the usage of AI. So this is a new concept. This is a very new sphere in general, and we are just not keeping up with how fast this is penetrating our lives. So I guess in upcoming time, we will see some regulations on the government level that would be, or on cross-country level, that would be imposed on the usage of AI in certain spheres. But still, we need to wait for that and see how it will evolve and how we actually would be able to use ChatGPT afterwards in our life. So with all of this information, I would like to return to the question why we should even care about this particular technology and how it affects our performance, our lives as professionals, and so on. Let's start with the potential benefits, and put them in a nutshell. One of the main benefits that I wanted to highlight today is that ChatGPT and AI can actually improve the efficiency of the business analyst. If you have certain tasks that are repetitive, and you can create the prompts that provide good results for you, then you can use those prompts on a daily basis and to, in a way, automate completion of those tasks. Also, as ChatGPT can be used for not only as a source of information, but also it can be used to improve the quality of your artifacts and of the outcomes of your work. I've already provided the example of refining and improving the wordings of the emails, for example. Just like that, it can refine the user stories and improve the wordings. It can decompose the user story into smaller chunks of works. You can use it to cross-check the scope of analysis, like, for example, in one of the use cases on improvement of the search functionality. You can also do prompts like that, and you can check yourself of whether you have paid enough attention to all the peculiarities of certain scope, to all the areas of that scope. And also, it can help to improve quality of your preparation to certain event. For example, if you are working in the medical device domain and you are preparing for the workshop with the client to get more information about how heart monitor can be used in certain use case, then you can do prompts like that, and it will provide you a better context and perhaps help you to define the answers the questions, that you would like to ask that person. Mentoring and education. This is interesting because actually, as with the example with ChatGPT can be used for learning and for self-education. There is a lot of data in the internet, and basically using ChatGPT, you can create your own learning programs. You can create the tasks that you would like to complete, and you can even check the tasks using ChatGPT. So, for example, if I would like to learn JavaScript, to start learning JavaScript, I can ask ChatGPT to create the program for me as a starter. Also, on each of the topics that would be included into my learning program, I would ask ChatGPT to create the tasks. And then when I complete the tasks, I can also input code there, and it will validate my code and provide some recommendations on how to improve it. And the last part is the research. Basically, for me personally, right now, ChatGPT is the substitute of Google, especially if I'm not searching for something specific, for some website, for example, but if I'm looking for information, if I'm looking for the data. So now instead of opening 10 links and reading 10 articles, I can just input one prompt to ChatGPT and read the answer. Um, this is very time saving. However, with all of this good stuff, we also need to remember that we still need to apply our, our own logic there, our own minds. And because in general, if we would be just using ChatGPT for any kind of answers without giving it a second thought, it might also lead us to some kind of a, mental trap. Um, Here is I've tried to look for expressions and quotes that can illustrate how person needs to adapt, to changes in the life and to change in reality in general. And ChatGPT easily searched for provided me 10 different quotes. Out of all of that, I've selected the one of the Charles Darwin, who I guess is the expert in the adaptation, and what he says that people who survive, or not people, but beings which survive, are those who can best manage change. Um, on the last, concluding the conversation, this is my personal thoughts, but I believe that indeed business analysis, just like any other sphere, not only in IT, but in general, will change with the impact of the AI and technologies like ChatGPT, and I guess there would be much more in future. However, since since our work is a little bit specific and it really implies usage of soft skills, usage of certain kind of an analysis approach, human logic, and so on, it would not be that easy. However, we need to prepare to changes in how we work, changes in how we interact with people, changes in how the teams are being created. Because if we do not prepare for that, and if we are not, getting up to speed with the changing environment, then perhaps our skill set might get outdated. So on this optimistic note, I would like to conclude the speech. Thank you very much for attention. If you will have any kind of questions that you have not asked so far in the chapter or that you will not say out loud, then you can reach out to me on the email or find me on the LinkedIn. And yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Maryna. It was very interesting. I don't see any question in a chat. So if anyone, Ivan, I see your hand. Please unmute yourself and ask a question. Okay. There's one question. Okay, there's one question in a chat. Alan, we are typing into ChatGPT. Alan, you can ask a question if you want. You are typing a question in a ChatGPT. Okay, we are waiting for ChatGPT to ask Maryna a question.
Well, there is no more questions to me. All the questions are to ChatGPT.
Yeah. Okay, Anna asked you in chat, did you use ChatGPT to prepare for this presentation?
Oh yeah, of course I did. Of course I did. Frankly speaking, I kind of do not a lot, but still quite a few presentation in general as a part of my work. And recently I've started to use ChatGPT for that, and it has, like, in terms of the time it consumes, it's much better now. So
okay. There's lots of comments, but I don't see any question. Okay. Very interesting presentation. Okay, we have some comments. Okay. No questions from the audience.
Okay.
Okay. I have one question. What do you think? What will happen with profession of business analyst in, I don't know, maybe 3 years? How do you see it from, of course, context of today and the information that we have today?
Okay, so I do not think that business analysis as a profession will actually, go away that fast. However, I guess that we might face quite soon some changes in terms of how what is expected in terms of speed of the outcomes from the business analysts and in general in team composition. And on a side note, it's like one of the trends that like me and my friends have been discussing is that perhaps it will be a little bit more difficult to actually enter any profession in IT because especially in development and in business analysis as well, and up to certain extent, it's very easy to actually substitute the work of juniors with models as an example of ChatGPT because it can decompose the requirements, it can, write the user stories, it can write the code with certain type of prompts or refine the code. So my understanding would be that actually in certain future, I'm not sure whether it would happen in 3 years or maybe faster. However, we'll see. We will have some kind of a situation where it will be like the expectations from the BAs would be more in terms of how fast you work and how fast you actually can come up with the outcomes and with actual artifacts and the results of your work.
Does it mean that when you are thinking about market, maybe market will need less business analysts because we will work more. We should be more effective with the ChatGPT. So maybe the company will not need, I don't know, 10 business analysts, but just 7 or 6. What do you think? Is it can happen or?
It might happen, especially in certain like type of engagements where there are teams of BAs. And actually, I totally agree with that comment. That of course, if we would not be training and onboarding new juniors, then we'll eventually, since within the lifespan of human life, right? We will be out of BAs in general and other IT experts. But yeah, most probably the expectations from juniors will also change and will be higher than they are now.
Yes, I agree with you because I had a conversation with my friend yesterday. He's owner of IT company. He has around 20 developers, and he told me, okay, I need seniors. I will keep them, but I'm not sure for the juniors because they produce I would say simple code that we can find on easy way in ChatGPT. That could be a problem. That of course it's just I'm sharing the thoughts that we yesterday talked about. So it is something on your way of thinking, as you said. It would be harder to be a junior. Not just in business analyst, but also I think in development side. But of course, we will see what will happen.
Yeah.
Okay. We have one question from Alan. Do you have any quantitative measurements in any area of your work where using ChatGPT has improved the productivity or quality of certain process?
So for now, in general, in EPAM, we have those measurements, but I would not say that we can treat them as objective, because that was produced based on involvement of certain people, of certain working group that were using ChatGPT for different areas of their work, and then they tried to measure the time savings with the ChatGPT. So as because of that data security and privacy concerns, for now, it is difficult to just start using ChatGPT on every kind of task that you have, because quite often it requires client information, which should not be shared in any way. And that's why we still do not have any kind of a big data, to collect, to process, and to present as something trusted in terms of the improvements in efficiency. However, I can share my thoughts on that, but again, I'm not using it for every kind of process, because also my tasks are quite limited right now because of specifics of the engagement. But for example, in the tasks like research, preparation for the presentations, gathering of the materials that I would need to use, it is very practical and it saves a lot of time.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, it would be hard because you are manager of your analyst. So is it hard to how to say it? See, is someone do the work by himself, or he used ChatGPT to finish the task that you gave him?
In general, as since the start, EPAM is outsourcing company, so we have different projects, and basically most of the people I'm working with, they work
Mhm.
on different projects. So we are not the part of the same team in terms of we are not working with the same scope. However, in general, I would say that sometimes it's very obvious that the person has used ChatGPT for certain purposes, because just the wording is too good to be true.
Okay, it's perfect, you think?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Uh, okay, we have some comments. Thank you for presentation regarding to data privacy and sharing company or personal data. Have in the mind that you can see cloud services like Azure to prevent that. Is it possible to make that kind of solution? Uh, you said something that is interesting because I think the security, it can be problem, and putting all the data about clients in prompts, it can be maybe some problem, but we will see how company will react on that possibility. Okay,
Yeah,
we
in
have.
general, indeed, it is possible to have your own instance of ChatGPT, which would be hosted in a cloud, for example, but it involves additional investments, let's put it this way.
Yes. Okay. Okay, we have another question. Can you see, Maryna,
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
question? Okay, I
actually,
don't want to uh, repeat it if you can say it. It is
okay,
from
so
Vedran. Yeah.
yeah, I can see. Okay, so um okay, I would say that we can look at it from different points. So in case each of the user story that needs to be created um, requires very different additional context that you need to provide, then perhaps indeed it's easier to write the user stories by itself. But in case you can do it, like for example, in one of the prompts, you create the context, and then you create the prompt to actually decompose that scope into the user stories and provide the acceptance criteria. Then you might have some time gains by reviewing the result instead of doing that from scratch by yourself. But in general, that would be very dependent on the complexity of the scope that you're working with. In some of the cases, I would say that indeed it would be just, easier to sit yourself and write all of the user stories. But again, if you have, if you are, for example, doing some work, like you have the requirements that are listed in that in general described in the document, but you need to decompose all of that document into some kind of artifacts for the development, like the user stories or any type of other artifacts that you create for the development team, then you can use ChatGPT for the initial breakdown, and then you will need to just do the cross-check instead of doing all that for yourself as well. So that would be dependent on the situation.
Okay. Do we have any question? No. Okay. How do you enter those complex tasks, instruction, content, input, output into the prompt? Simply as a wall of the text, eventually delimited with the line breakers. Alan, that was a question. Okay.
Yeah, I guess this is a question. And yeah, so this is just a text. And also, if the output that you need should be not a text, but for example, a table, then you also need to enter that as a text within your prompt. However, again, if, for example, if in your input you are referring to some kind of a link or external information that is hosted somewhere, then perhaps you might want to add the links there. So something like that.
Okay. There is no questions. Okay. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Maryna, for sharing your knowledge about this topic. It was interesting. I think this AI and ChatGPT and GPT will become the part of our daily life, I would say. I'm sure that we'll have on this topic more CROBA meetups. I don't know. I believe in that. I will be like that. Thank you, and thank you all participants for joining this session. This is our last event before summer break. Please follow the meetup and link in the site of CROBA to see what we are preparing for the rest of this year. So thank you all, and see you on some other event.
Thank you. Have a great evening.